welcome to another video. So today I am doing my fantasy Goodreads Choice Award predictions. So I, a couple months ago, did a vlog where I read all of the winners of the Goodreads Choice Awards for fantasy over the last 12 years. I'll link it up at the top. And I have been throughout the year kind of making like a list of books that I think are going to appear on this year's list. So I'm kind of taking inspiration from Meg with Books in terms of how I'm laying out this video, but I'm going to run through the books that I think are going to be. I'm going to run through what I think the top 20 is going to be, and I'm going to try and split it out into top 10 as well. So let's just get going. Hello, Editing Jenny here. I am losing my voice, but I realised when I planned out and filmed this video that I hadn't actually thought all the way through of how I was going to edit it. Hi Bracken. Hi baby, you're not meant to be like that, are you? So you're going to see 3 covers at a time, and then once I've gone through everything, I'm going to have like a graphic with everything in the order that I think they're going to be in, and or at least like the top 10 and top 20 split, and I'll talk through that when I get there. First of all, this will make the top 10. I will not be surprised if this wins. I think this possibly will be the winner, and that is, of course, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Fourth Wing took the world by storm this year. I feel like I know a lot of people who have never read fantasy and never intended to read fantasy who have read and loved Fourth Wing. So this will 100% be nominated, and I expect it to make top 10. I think it might even be the winner. Second on the list, I'm going with Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I haven't read this one, but because it is a Brandon Sanderson, I feel like it's going to be nominated. I don't actually know how well received Tress has been. I'm going to just look that up on Goodreads now. But it's pretty. It's got a 4.49 with 67,000 ratings. So, yeah, I would say pretty well received. Could make top 10. Don't know. I think it probably would make top 10 just because it's Brandon Sanderson. The next one on my list, this one I am unsure about, is In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. So the reason I'm unsure of this one is I don't know whether it's categorised as fantasy or sci-fi, because I thought it was fantasy. It doesn't say how it's categorised on my phone. I thought it was fantasy, but in the list that Goodreads did like in June of like the best books of the year so far or something, it was under sci-fi. So I feel like it's going to be nominated, but I don't know if it's going to be nominated in fantasy or sci-fi. It's a tentative one. I'm then saying Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. Again, I feel like it's Cassandra Clare. Very good chance it's going to be nominated. And I feel like Swordcatcher has been pretty well received so far. Again, just gonna double check what we think of that one. Should I have done all of this checking beforehand? Maybe. Do I care? Not at all. Ooh, it has only just come out. It's a 4-star, but it's only had 749 ratings. I still think it's going to be nominated. I still think Swordcatcher will be on the list. Next up, I'm saying Hellbent by Lee Bardugo. So 9th House won in 2019. So that makes me think Hellbent is absolutely going to be nominated and probably going to be top 10 as well. This one scares me. A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. I still haven't read Priory, and because I haven't read Priory, I am kind of putting off. I haven't even bought A Day of Fallen Night. I think I have it on on NetGalley. It's got a 4.43, 19,000 ratings, just shy of. So I think it's going to be nominated, and it might be top 10, and that really scares me because I am planning on reading the top 10 when they're announced, and I don't want to read A Day of Fallen Night. Likewise, Lightbringer by Pierce Brown. Again, I don't know, is this categorised as a sci-fi? I'm not sure. Thank you, Bella, that was disgusting. So yeah, Lightbringer by Pierce Brown. I don't know if it's categorised as a fantasy or sci-fi, so it might not be on the list. It, you know, it might be under sci-fi. But I think it is going to be nominated. And again, if it is on the fantasy list, I've only read book 1 in the series, so I'm not reading Lightbringer because I am. The next one that again, this is a little bit of a wild card. I think The Adventures of Amina El-Sawifi might be nominated. I'm going to just see what kind of reception it's got on GoodReads. It's a 4.32 with 24,000 ratings. So I think it's going to be nominated. I don't know if it's going to make top 10. I feel like it had a lot of hype when it came out because it's written by Shannon Chakraborty, but I don't hear people still talking about it. So question mark on this one. The next one that I am putting on my top 20 list is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. Again, I don't feel like I hear a lot of people still talking about it, but I do think that this had a lot of hype when it first came out, and oh, it's not got a very good rating. It's got a 3.7 and 14,000 ratings. That's a little bit of a wild card, isn't it? I believe they've got to have a 3.5 average rating to be nominated. I'm going to put a question mark next to that one. I might swap that one out. Don't know. The next one that I'm putting on my list is Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. So part of this is because I'm just a complete Chloe Gong stan, and I think that she's amazing. Ooh, it's got a 3.56. It has only got 9,500 ratings. That's also got to be a question mark. It's very low. It might not get nominated. It might not. It's only just over the threshold. Okay, next one. I'm in the kind of ones that I'm not sure of. So this one, honestly, I think is going to be nominated, but I don't know if it's going to be nominated under fantasy. And that is The Curse of Saints by Katie Jarmus. It has been marketed as a romance. It's a fantasy romance. And in my opinion, the fantasy element is stronger than the romance element. I don't really think it has much of a romance subplot at all. But it's been very heavily marketed as romance, so it might end up being nominated under romance. Although looking at the ratings, it's got an average of 3.72 and only 3,000 ratings, which really surprises me because this one was a fairy loot book. It had a hell of a lot of hype when it first came out. But again, I think it had been marketed as romance, which I think, the romance girlies are like, no, this isn't for me. This is all magic and wolves. Whereas the fantasy girlies didn't necessarily get to it because it was marketed as a romance. So I think it is going to be nominated. And I think it should go under fantasy. I think it's got a better chance under fantasy. I feel like the romance category is a little bit too strong at the moment. But yeah, Curse of Saints, that's another question mark. Okay, the next book that I am thinking is going to be nominated is The Shadow Cabinet by Juno Dawson. HMRC was so popular, and there has been so much hype for The Shadow Cabinet that I just think it's going to be nominated. I don't know if it's going to make top 10, but I think it's going to be nominated. I'm then putting on The Ashes and the Star-Crossed King by Carissa Broadbent. So everybody has been reading, I can't remember what it's called, but the other one in the Carissa Broadbent series, which came out last year. So I think that that's gonna maybe push the sequel to be nominated. Again, little bit of a risky one. Let me just see. The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. Yeah, I'm saying it's going to be nominated. It's got a 4.21 average rating and 90,000 ratings. That's one of the highest ratings. But yeah, everybody's been loving Serpent and the Wings of Night, so I just think it's going to be in there. I'm then putting in Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I feel like this has got a bit of a resurgence. I don't know why, but Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, when was it released? January 2023, so it's had like a year, but it's got a 4.09 average rating, with just shy of 37,000 ratings. So I feel like over the last couple of months I've heard so many people talking about this book, so I think it might be nominated. So then this is one that I think is a little bit of a risky one, but also I think it is going to be nominated. And that is Atalanta by Jennifer Saint. I feel like there's always one of these like Greek myth retellings that is in this list. Atalanta does only have 9,000 ratings and a 3.82 average rating. So whether it is this one or not, but I'm putting Atalanta on because it was very highly hyped this year. I'm just not certain that it is going to be this one, but I think there will be a Greek myth retelling. The next one, which is another risky one, is Witch King by Martha Wells. I don't know if Witch King is classed as a fantasy or as a sci-fi. It doesn't have very good ratings actually, 3.75 with just over 9,000 ratings. I think it is classed as a fantasy, but it might not be. I feel like similarly to In the Lives of Puppets, it might be a fantasy, it might be classed as sci-fi, I'm not sure. And again, the GoodReads app doesn't tell me, and I don't have my laptop with me, and I can't be bothered to go downstairs and get it. The next one I think is going to be nominated is A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. I know this one hasn't been out for very long, but I feel like it's been everywhere and there's been a lot of hype for it. So yeah, I think it's going to be nominated. Let's have a look. It's got just shy of 6,000 ratings and a 4.14. It's only been out for like a month, so I think it's going to be nominated. This one isn't actually yet out, and I think it does come out pretty much on the line. This one is released, I believe, on the 7th of November, and I think the cutoff is something like the 15th of November or the 20th of November or something like that, as to like when they need to be released by to be eligible for the list. And that's Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry. I think it's going to be nominated. I just think it will be. Even though it will have been only just released, I think it is going to be on the list. I've then got Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. Again, I think it's going to be nominated. I don't know how well received it's been, but I have heard a lot of people talk about it and a lot of people have really enjoyed it. But then again, just because people on like BookTube and Bookstagram and BookTok like it doesn't necessarily mean like correlate to the GoodReads results. So okay, it's got 7,000 ratings and a 3.93. I just think it could sneak in. And then I've got He Who Drowned the World by Shelley Parker Chan. Again, very hyped book. I think it's going to be nominated. I have got 3 others that I'm putting on, and I might then just do a little bit of a switch and swap around. They are Throne of the Fallen by Kerry Maniscalco, again, I think this is going to fall under fantasy and not romance. It is a fantasy romance, but I think it's going to fall more under fantasy. It is only sort of just released as well. Let's have a quick look at what the rating. It's only had 800 ratings, but it's got an average of 4.33. So I feel like this could just sneak in. Again, it has only just been released a week ago. I'm then saying Lost in the Moment and Found by Shauna Maguire. Again, I'm not 100% sure whether these are counted as fantasy or something else. I don't like the Wayward Children series. So, but I know I am very much in the minority that everybody else loves this series. I'm just not a fan. Let's see, like 4.34, 10,000 ratings. I think it's going to get nominated if it's classed as a fantasy. This is the problem, is I don't actually know what's classed as a fantasy and not. And then the last one I've got on my list is Starling House by Alexi Harrow. Again, I feel like there's been a lot of hype around this one. So it's only just got 1,800 ratings, but it has got an average of 4.25, but it was only published like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think it might sneak in. So I'm going to stop filming this part now, and then I'm going to jump back in as I sort everything out and put in the order that I think we're going to get. So I will see you later. Hello. So I have gone through all of the books. I've got rid of the 3 spares that I don't think are going to make the top 20 upon reflection. And this is the order that I think they will be in. So I don't think I've got the order obviously exactly right. I may not even got the nominations right, but this is what I think it will look like. So top 10, Fourth Ring, honestly I think it's going to win it. Hellbent, Lightbringer, this one is still a question mark. On GoodReads it's both classed as fantasy and sci-fi, so I just don't know what it's going to come under. Ashes of the Star-Cursed King, Bookshops and Bone Dust, Swordcatcher, He Who Drowned the World, Tress of the Emerald Sea, In the Lives of Puppets, and Day of Fallen Night. I think is going to be the top 10. So In the Lives of Puppets is also classed as fantasy and sci-fi, so I'm guessing it's going to be fantasy. My bottom 10, the others in the top 20, I'm thinking The Shadow Cabinet. So I think it's been so popular, but I do think it is very British. So I don't know if American audiences have enjoyed The Shadow Cabinet as much. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, Atalanta, Witch King, which is classed as a fantasy, The Adventures of Amina al-Sarifi, The Curse of Saints, Master of Death, Starling House, Lost in the Moment and Found, and Throne of the Fallen. So the 3 that I got rid of were A Study in Drowning. That one's actually classed as YA, and for the last couple of years there's been a YA fantasy section on the GoodReads Choice Awards, so I'm assuming it'll be nominated there. I got rid of Immortal Longings because even though I love it, it didn't have the best ratings, so it might not be nominated. Really sorry if you can hear Bracken eating in the background. And for the same sort of reason, I also got rid of Last Tale of the Flower Bride. Again, it just didn't have the best ratings, so I'm not sure that it will actually be nominated. But that is my top 20. Let me know, what do you think? Do you agree with my nominations? Are there any that I have glaringly missed? Are there any that you think are complete wild cards, and what am I even thinking? If you like this video, please leave me a like, subscribe down below, and stay tuned if you like the style of video, because I've got another one coming soon. And I'll see you in whatever comes next.